All right, so now it's time to tier the Eastern Conference. This one's going to be a little bit different of a tier. I had 6 tiers in the Western Conference, but for the Eastern Conference, I think there's 5 tiers because I just think the Western Conference is deeper. You see the tier list on the screen. You see the 5 sections. We got contenders, really good team, the play-in squabble, the play-in hopefuls, and the lottery. So in the contenders tier, the first team I have is the Boston Celtics, and this one was pretty clear with respect to the Milwaukee Bucks, of course, who I have second in this tier. But the Celtics have been in, 3 out of the last 4 Eastern Conference Finals. They still have arguably the best wing duo in the NBA in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Still young. Jason Tatum, I think, is still going to improve because he's improved every year. The trade for Kristaps Porzingis, I made a video about it. I'm still not sure how to feel about it. I'm in a wait-and-see approach with that, just health-wise, how everything's going to fit. It's definitely a high upside play. Gives the Celtics some more diversity in their offensive portfolio. But I do want to see how the Marcus Smart absence affects this team. But regardless, this team is really talented. They still have a lot of their core rotation, even without Marcus Smart, who I thought was one of their most important players on the team. And we'll see how it works out with Porzingis. I have the Celtics number 1 in the contenders tier. Then I have the Milwaukee Bucks, and I'm low-key interested to see how the Milwaukee Bucks and that whole situation plays out over the next year and a half. Definitely this season, because it's clear that I wouldn't say the window is closing, but the core, of course, is aging. That's just a natural life cycle of the NBA. Drew Holiday's talked about, wanting to retire by his mid-30s. Chris Middleton, he got that extension. Brook Lopez, he got that 2-year deal. So this is the window. This is the core that won the championship in the 2021 finals, obviously with Giannis and the whole extension talks looming or not looming in the comments he made over the summer. You still got Giannis, who has a case as the best player in the world. You still have the core that won the 2021 finals. And I still have concerns about the roster just in terms of lack of athleticism and this team getting older. If you look at their roster, their main rotation is mostly back. And you're hoping for a leap from Marshawn Beauchamp, who, is nice and athletic, but can he shoot consistently? That's really the only high upside option I see on this roster for the Bucks, but their main core is still intact. Their main rotation, they still have Bobby Portis, Pat Connaughton, Jay Crowder from the trade last year. So the team will still be good, and as long as Giannis is healthy, this team is going to have the ability to make a finals run. But to me, the flaws are still there, and I just think at this point the Celtics are better. But of course, when you have one of the best players on planet Earth, you always have a shot, and the Bucks are in the contenders tier. And then the third team, and you just gotta put them in here. They could definitely finish as the 9th seed because they've lost some key rotation players. They could even finish anywhere between the 4 and the 6 seeds. But I got the Miami Heat here. And as long as Jimmy Butler, Eric Spoelstra, and Bam Adebayo are still members of the Heat organization, you just got to give them the benefit of the doubt. As long as they have a shot to make the playoffs, they have a shot to make a run at the finals, because Eric Spoelstra, for my money, is the best coach in the NBA, and Bam Adebayo is one of the best defenders on planet Earth, and Jimmy Butler is a top 15 player at worst in the NBA. And we saw the run that he had. Even though he had some games where he tailed off towards the end, it was still a great finals run. As long as they are on the Heat are contenders. Then we go to the really good teams, and I know everybody wants to get their slander off still on the Sixers and Joel Embiid, rightfully so, but I have the Sixers here at number 4. We forget that Embiid is still, no matter where you have him in your revised rankings now, if he's not in your top 10, I don't want to hear your top 10. But if you have him on the lower end of the top 10, that's fine. Regardless, he is an MVP caliber player. We saw him carry the team when some of his best teammates decided to quit and sit out. So he has the ability to carry a team. This team is still a second-round exit, but I am excited for creative coaching. I think Maxey is primed to take a big leap this year and show that he is an all-star caliber player. You still got some young players on the roster, even though there's a lot of players on this team that are like 40 years old and there's a bunch of centers on it. You still got some young players on there. You got creative coaching, even with the Harden thing going on. This team could still win, high 40s, low 50s games if Embiid, stays healthy and plays well and Maxey takes a leap. It's not out of the realm of possibility. I actually think is a very good possibility, especially now that the Sixers have good coaching. Then next I have the Cavs, and the Cavs, they tried to address some flaws this offseason. They signed Max Strus. They signed George Niang to address the shooting issues that the Cavs have had. They didn't exactly address, getting an extra wing defender or two, but hopefully, Isaac Okoro pans out as a better shooter and a more competent offensive player this year, because I still believe in that kid, and that is like the carbon copy type of wing, or the wing that Isaac Okoro is projected to be. That's someone I would put around Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland. I'm looking forward to see if Evan Mobley can take a notable and sizable impact leap on offense so he can finally become the all-NBA caliber player that a lot of people think he is. And I know he's young and it's probably too much to expect him to develop that fast, but the Cavs have their core right now, and the East is a little weak, so they can compete for a deep playoff run. But there are concerns about coaching. JB Bickerstaff, as much as I defended him, his playoff series against the Knicks was not good. Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley got bullied by Mitchell Robinson, and I wonder how they're going to bounce back from that. There are still some questions with the Cavaliers. Darius Garland is underrated, though. Donovan Mitchell's still great, and this team's going to be really good. I just don't think they are in that class of Milwaukee, Boston, or even Miami. And then right behind the Cavaliers, we have the New York Knicks. And I know Knicks fans just might be pissed because they beat the Cavs, so why shouldn't they be ahead of the Cavaliers in this ranking? Well, for a few reasons. One, I think the top-end talent on the Cavs is still better than the Knicks, even though the Knicks played a better style and were more cohesive in that series. Before the Knicks, they had a great year. Jalen Brunson is an all-star caliber player. He helped revive Julius Randle after having a down year the year before. But I want to see how the Knicks come into year two, because 3 years ago when the Knicks made the playoffs, I thought the Knicks were going to improve off that, and then they had a down year. Then, of course, they retooled around Brunson, Randle, and, getting Josh Hart at the trade deadline, which kind of changed a lot of things for the Knicks, just how highly productive they were. But I want to see if they are able to build off of that. Will their bench have outlier production like they did last year? I think they're still going to be an outright playoff team because they're well coached. They have a bunch of players that play hard for their coach, and a lot of their guys fit together. But I think just overall talent-wise, I think they're behind the Cavs. And I think the Cavs were in the early part of their cycle as a core, and the lights were kind of too bright for them in the playoffs. Jarrett Allen admitted as much. But obviously, the Knicks have a chance to prove me wrong. It's not like I don't think they can have a better record than the Cavs this regular season. But if you're just talking about projection from regular season and then going into the playoffs, I could definitely see the Cavs making a deeper playoff run than the Knicks now that they've retooled. Then we got the play-in squabble, and we'll go through those really quickly. I have the Hawks here. They're going to be a little bit more interesting this year now that it's a full year of Quinn Snyder heading into his first training camp with the Hawks, and I still weirdly like this Hawks roster. They have a lot of young talent on there. Then we got the Chicago Bulls, the depressing Chicago Bulls, who are just stuck in purgatory, and they gave Vooch that extension, basically locking in another season of mediocrity. The Lonzo Ball story is just sad, but DeRozan's still fun. Zach LaVine is still fun when he's healthy. There really isn't much else. I'm still really high on Patrick Williams. I made a video about him. I'll never quit Patrick Williams. They definitely have some players on there, but this roster's just weird. It's definitely capped out as a 500 team. I'm just not that high on the Bulls. Then we got the Orlando Magic. The Magic were playing 500 ball after the new year started, and that was with all the young talent on the roster, led by Paolo Banchero, who really showed out in FIBA, especially as a backup 5. And then, of course, Franz Wagner, who led his team to win FIBA, led Germany to win the FIBA tournament. The Magic just have 2 really good big wings, and the Magic have been able to build off of that, adding big players next to those big ball-handling wings that they drafted back-to-back years. And Jamal Mosley's done a great job developing this team, giving players free reign, a lot of rope to make mistakes, and they played some really solid ball post-New Year. They didn't make the playoffs, they didn't make the play-in, but I'm also excited to see what Anthony Black looks like. I love his feel for the game. That was apparent during Summer League. The Magic are cooking something there. I made a video earlier last season about how the Magic were cooking something, so I'm looking forward to see what the next stage of the cooking process is. And then the last team in the play-in squabble, I have the Indiana Pacers. I liked some of the trades the Indiana Pacers made. I like the draft pick of Jarris Walker. I like that they took a flyer on Obi Toppin, who was just going to be buried on the bench by Tom Thibodeau. Tyrese Halliburton, he's going to be a superstar. He is a pace monster. That team's going to be up and down running. Miles Turner extended. Hopefully the trade rumors can subside for at least a year or two. And this Pacers team is going to be fun to watch. And then we got the play-in hopefuls. We got the Nets. And the Nets won't have the cushion of Kevin Durant playing at an MVP level to start off the year. And I just don't think the Nets are going to have the same record. And I think they're barely a play-in hopeful. Then we have the Raptors here, and look, the Raptors were just a slog to watch in the half court. There seemed to be some weird stuff going on with Scotty Barnes and, maybe some of his teammates being pissed at him, questioning his work ethic. Scotty Barnes had I wouldn't say down year, but he didn't have the leap many of us expected him to have coming off of that rookie year. There's still trade rumors surrounding Pascal Siakam. You got a new coach in there after giving Nick Nurse the boot. I just don't like this Raptors team aesthetically, schematically. I like their players. I'm definitely one to like players with long wingspans, etc., but I just don't think the Raptors are going to be anything good. Their ceiling is play-in squabble to me. Then we got the Pistons here, and they're just super young. And I need to see Cade Cunningham be healthy. I want Cade to be healthy because I think he has true franchise number 1 guy level potential. And then we got the Hornets here. I think they could maybe be in the play-in squabble tier if they play to their absolute potential. I already did a video on the Hornets, but I just don't think, compared to the other teams and tiering them, I just don't think the Hornets are any higher than maybe the Pistons. But they are definitely in the play-in hopeful category. And then the only lottery team here is the Wizards. And that should have been apparent after, the Bradley Beal trade. I don't think a Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma-led team is going to lead you anywhere but just a bunch of losses, and that's no disrespect to them as players, but if they're your best players on the team, the Wizards are in trouble. So that is my Eastern Conference tier list. Thank you for listening, and stay tuned for some more videos as I continue to preview players and teams before the season starts. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe, all that jazz. But until next time, we'll see you later.